task before him trying to rein in state spending and make the business climate in New York State more hospitable so that we can grow jobs in New York State. So I fully recognize that he's got a difficult task at hand. But I think that this proposal, at least part of the proposal that expands the prosecutorial power, the due process power through subpoena authority, et cetera, while consolidating these agencies, is a little bit over the rail in my estimation. I think it's a good idea that he's looking at consolidating banking and the insurance department, consumer protection. I think that makes perfect sense. It's very logical. But as he knows full well, having done a great job as Attorney General, the ability to enforce the Martin Act, the ability to guard against fraud on Wall Street is a traditional power and responsibility of the Attorney General. The Martin Act is an old statute, almost 100 years old. It's been around for a long time, and it's been enforced by the Attorney General for a long time. So I think that creating a dual-track prosecutorial due process through subpoena power authority that competes with the Attorney General could be problematic. And here's why it's problematic. It's not so much that it's diminishing the power of the Attorney General. You know, I don't want your viewers to think that I'm just trying to defend and protect some old turf here as a former Attorney General, but I think that it's complicated for businesses that want to come into New York State and businesses that are doing business in New York State. We already have a rather complicated regulatory environment in New York State, and I think that this just makes it more complicated, especially in the context of so many global businesses that indeed do work through Wall Street.
So if for not a power grab or an effort to undercut the Attorney General, or if at the very least to create a competing entity, then what do you think might have been the logic behind doing this? Well,
I think, look, this is a massive budget, and Governor Cuomo's got an enormously difficult job, as I've already indicated, just getting his arms around the massive bureaucracy of state government. And it could be just as simple as him having given some of his policy folks the directive to slam these agencies together. Again, I think that's a good idea. And in doing so, they just kind of blue-skied this and decided to give the new consolidated agency this excessive power and authority. But again, I just think that it's unnecessary, and it is complicating. You know, there is a model here that I would commend if I could be so bold to make a recommendation to the governor here.
Please do.
A generation or so ago, when organized crime was, you know, such an important public safety issue that needed the laser focus of state government, the legislature, the executive branch, and the Attorney General came together to form the State Organized Crime Task Force. And many people don't remember that the Assistant Attorney General, the Deputy Attorney General in charge of the State Organized Crime Task Force, is a dual appointee of both the Attorney General and the Governor. So it seems to me that instead of totally upsetting the apple cart here and creating the potential for competing prosecutorial or investigatory interest here, that maybe they might be better served in looking at the Organized Crime Task Force model and creating a financial regulatory compliance task force that is manned by assistant attorneys general, have the traditional authority and power of that office with a joint appointee of both the governor and the attorney general. And I think in that fashion, it then diminishes sort of the dueling subpoena process, the dueling investigation, and it does give some certainty to the business community. I mean, if we've learned anything here over the last decade or so, the businesses they like certainty. Whether it's the tobacco industry 15 years ago settling with me and other attorney generals over the tobacco litigation, they paid big money because they were looking for certainty. And I think that that a model that creates uncertainty in the minds of business could have adverse consequences that are not anticipated.